Today, we're diving into a really powerful system for improving your trading. And here's a hint for you. It has absolutely nothing to do with finding some secret indicator or that holy grail strategy everyone's looking for. Let's get right into it. You know the drill, right? We've all been there. You spend countless hours backtesting, tweaking all the little parameters, jumping from one perfect system to the next, always convinced that this is going to be the one. But what if the answer isn't out there at all? So here's the big mindset shift. The biggest breakthroughs in your trading performance, they don't come from finding some perfect strategy someone else made. No, they come from building a powerful internal system, a system to understand and improve yourself. And that system is what we call a cycle of improvement. Look, this isn't about some one-time fix. It's about a daily, weekly, monthly process of refining your edge and really achieving mastery over the long haul. Okay, so this cycle is built on 4 distinct phases. First, you have analysis. Then comes insight. From there, you move to adaptation, and finally, measurement. Each one of these feeds directly into the next, creating this incredible feedback loop for real systematic growth. The first half of this whole cycle, it's all about diagnosis. Think of it like being a doctor for your own trading. It's where you stop guessing and start knowing exactly what's driving your results, good or bad. So, Phase 1 is analysis. And I'm not just talking about glancing at your P&L at the end of the day. No, this is a rigorous, totally objective deep dive into the quality of your decisions and your execution. We have to go way beyond the surface. And to do this right, we need to track some surprisingly detailed stuff. We're talking about your R multiple distribution, which is just a fancy way of saying how much you win or lose in terms of your initial risk. We're tracking hold times, win/loss rates for each specific setup, even your emotional state. Just tagging a trade with impatient or FOMO. Because when you use techniques like trade cluster analysis to group similar trades, you start to see these hidden patterns. You might discover your best setup only works on Tuesday mornings, or that every trade you tag as impatient ends up being a loser. This is where the real clues are buried. All right, once you've got all that data, you move into phase 2, insight. This is the magic step. This is where you transform the what you found in your analysis into the why. It's all about connecting the dots to find the real root cause of your results. And, a simple but incredibly powerful tool for this is the 5 whys. Let's say a strategy isn't working. You ask, why? Well, maybe because volatility was too low. Okay. Why did that matter? Because the strategy needs momentum. Why? You see, you just keep digging and digging until you hit that fundamental, actionable truth. So you've done the detective work, you've found an actionable insight, now it's time to actually do something about it. The second half of this cycle is all about turning that new understanding into deliberate, controlled changes. And right here, this is the difference between failure and real progress. A vague goal like, I'm going to be more disciplined. That's useless, right? But an actionable protocol like, I will implement a mandatory 30-minute break after every single loss. Now that is specific, it's measurable, and it directly tackles an insight you might have had about revenge trading. This is the kind of change that actually moves the needle. Now listen up, because this is absolutely critical. When you get to the adaptation phase, you have to, and I mean have to, isolate your variables. Change only one specific thing at a time. One entry rule, one psychological habit. That's it. If you go and change 5 things at once, you'll have no idea which one actually made a difference or made things worse. And that brings us to the final phase, measurement. This is what closes the loop. This is where you rigorously track your performance after making that one change and compare it to your old data. Did the new rule actually work? The data will tell you. It takes all the guesswork, all the emotion, right out of the equation. Okay, so we have this powerful 4-step cycle for getting better. But let's be real, our time and energy are limited. So where should we focus most of our efforts to get the biggest impact? The answer, well, it might surprise you. I want you to meet the 20-20-60 rule. Yeah. Absolutely, 20% of your effort should go into strategy development, and another 20% on just flawless execution skills. But look at that massive slice. A full 60% of your focus should be on self-awareness and psychology. Managing your mind, your biases, your emotions. That, my friends, is the ultimate lever for success. Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. The greatest competitive advantage you can possibly develop, it's not some secret pattern on a chart. It's a deep, objective understanding of your own mind. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually make this a part of our daily lives without it becoming this massive, overwhelming chore? Well, let's break down a really practical schedule.
You can build a really simple rhythm around this. A quick 15-minute review at the end of each day just to log your trades and capture that fresh data. Then, you set aside maybe an hour on the weekend for that deeper dive, the real analysis and insight phase. And finally, a strategic review at the end of the month to measure how your changes are working and plan for the next cycle.
So to make this whole system stick, you need the right toolkit. And that means having your review schedules locked in, but it also includes powerful habits like trading plan version control, where you treat your plan like a living document that gets better with each successful change. And honestly, an accountability system, even if it's just checking in with one other trader, can make a world of difference. And that really brings us right back to the beginning. The goal isn't to finally arrive at some perfect state where you never make a mistake. The real goal is to fully embrace this continuous cycle of learning, of iterating and adapting. That process is the path to mastery. In the end, it really all boils down to this one idea. The best of the best in this game, they aren't just market wizards. They are masters of self-awareness. They've learned to turn that sharp lens of analysis inward. So, I'm going to leave you with this one question to really think about. Beyond all the wins and the losses, beyond the charts and the indicators, how well do you truly understand the person who's actually clicking the mouse? Because that's where your real edge is just waiting to be discovered.